All right, guys. So a few weeks ago, I did a video about how I believe personally that the Chinese social credit system is slowly trickling its way into the United States, right? Slowly trickling its way into America. And it's being done so in a way that's not as centralized as it is allegedly happening in China. It's more decentralized, but it's still systemic, okay? Because the ideology of academia, the federal government, and corporate America is all the same, right? They're all on the left, okay? And they heavily believe in cancel culture, right? And this cancel culture, in my opinion, is basically gonna lead us to a, again, Chinese-style social credit system, right? Where if you don't have the right beliefs, then, you possibly could be denied access to essential goods and services. And the most severe form of cancel culture that you could get is being canceled by the financial services system. If you cannot bank in this country, if you cannot access capital in this country, you effectively cannot live in this country. It's really as simple as that. It's really that simple. If you cannot access capital, if you cannot get access to the financial services system, you cannot live in this country. It is damn near impossible to do so. Okay? And when I did that story a week ago, I talked about a Canadian conservative who claims that the Royal Bank of Canada, which I believe is the largest bank in Canada, had denied them a mortgage loan. And basically they told them, without actually telling them, that, hey, it's because of your political beliefs, right? It's because you're in the media. It's because you're conservative. And you know what? We really just don't want to be associated with it. Okay? Now, a lot of people find this to be far-fetched. However, I don't. Because what happened last year with Trump after the January 6th rally, when the financial services system, I think it was Deutsche Bank or something like that, decided, hey, you know what? We're going to stop banking with Trump. At the time, I did a video about it. I said that this right here is a dangerous precedent, right? When the banks start canceling you, they can effectively wipe you off this planet, right? They can effectively end your ability to actually live in a certain country, okay? And lo and behold, a year later, I'm talking about this once again, as allegedly the Minnesota Bank and Trust moves to cancel MyPillow's founders' bank accounts. And we're talking about Mike Lindell. So let's read here. On Friday, businessman MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell announced that Heartland Financial and Minnesota Bank and Trust are moving to debank many of his accounts associated with his multi-million-dollar businesses and charities. The announcement came on Friday's episode of War Room, where host and former Trump advisor Steve Bannon played a recording on a telephone call between a top executive at Minnesota Bank and Trust and Lindell's controller. The executive stated that during the call that the bank, a subsidiary of Heartland Financial, had concerns about being connected with someone who could be in the news, aka not necessarily somebody that can be in the news, but somebody that is conservative or somebody they don't agree with that is in the news, right? That's really what they mean. Quote, not that the FBI is even sniffing or looking, but what if someone came and said, do you know what? We are going to subpoena all his account records and this and that, and then all of a sudden we make the news, the executive said. It's a reputation risk. He said accounts that are being threatened with debanking include Lindell Management, Lindell Outreach, Lindell Recovery Network, Lindell TV, Lindell Foundation, Lindell Publishing, Frank Speech, Michael Lindell Personal, and My Store. So according to this guy, this bank is basically like, listen, all your accounts, we don't really want you to have them here, right? You are a risk to us, because if the FBI comes sniffing and looking, then we're going to be in the news, and that's going to affect our reputation, because the woke mob is going to come after us. They're going to say, why are you helping Mike Lindell bank, right? Why are you helping him get access to capital? More specifically, they'll say, why are you banking the insurrection, right? Why are you funding the insurrection? That's what they'll say. That's what the left, the woke mob will say, okay? And the banks, because, they don't have any cojones, they'll just appease the woke mob, right? They'll appease the woke mob. Again, this is why cancel culture is so dangerous, guys. Okay? It's so dangerous, right? Lindell told Bannon that he had been given 1 week to remove Frank's speech, and they were going to want all the rest gone within 30 days. I am not being part of this. I'm not leaving. So you're going to have to throw me out of your bank, Lindell said. Where does it end, everybody? Where does it end? He questioned. Well, I mean, where does it end is when those voices that they don't want, right, are silenced. When somebody like Mike Lindell and his businesses go bankrupt. That's when it ends, right? When he's no longer able to live in this country. That's literally what the end goal of cancel culture is, right? That's the end goal. Lindell noted that he received an email from Minnesota Bank and Trust CEO Stephen Bishop following repeated attempts to get a hold of him on the phone, with the CEO telling Lindell that he was in meetings and would look into it. Look into what? You're supposed to be able to sleep, and all this knowing I'm getting canceled yet again, Lindell said. Yeah, I can imagine it would be hard to sleep knowing that, hey, you know, I could wake up in the morning and not have a bank, right? A place to, you know, deposit my money, to get access to capital, etc. Again, this is again the slippery slope, right? That's what it is. And again, the peak of cancel culture is when the financial services companies and banks start to say, hey, we don't want to do business with you because of your views, right? Now, allegedly, this is supposed to be illegal, right? Because that would be called redlining, okay? But, you know, hey, these banks, they probably don't care at this point. And there's actually another story that came out a few days ago. Now, again, this is alleged, right? All this stuff is alleged. This is just what they're saying, okay? That PayPal permanently banned journalists, and I use journalists very loosely here, Ian Mao Chong's account. Now, Ian Mao Chong's, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with him, but he's one of these guys that I guess is big in the right-wing, political space or whatever. And allegedly, he's saying that PayPal has banned this account for political reasons as well. On Tuesday, online financial services PayPal permanently banned the account of journalist Ian Mao Chong. Chong reported the news on Twitter with some surprise. Quote, PayPal just informed me, he wrote, that they have permanently banned my account. And as to the reason for that ban, he said that the company declined to give an explicit reason, though the supervisor was extremely rude and implied that it had everything to do with my politics. Chong, who writes for the Post Millennial, said they wouldn't let me know which rule I broke or how, gave me a lecture instead on how journalists don't reveal sources. When I pressed them on whether it was my politics, they seemed to imply that it was. The guy was really rude and commented that on issues regarding politics, PayPal remains neutral. Chong noted that bans like this and arbitrary rules selectively enforced are why alternative financial enterprises like Bitcoin are taking off. Chong also had funds in his account, which the online financial giant said would not be released for 180 days. There are many reports of PayPal banning users from accessing their services, which not only facilitates sending and receiving money, but is a popular method of payment for many online commerce sites. After the Capitol riot on January 6, 2021, so what's that supposed to say? PayPal banned many users from accessing their services. PayPal CEO Dan Schulman told Fortune that after banning the accounts of some of those alleged to have been at the Capitol during the riot, he received death threats. In that interview, Schulman said that PayPal stood by their acceptable use policy, stating that they can't advocate violence, hatred, or racial intolerance. He said there was a fine line between what is hatred and what is free speech, and who do we allow to fundraise using PayPal or Venmo and who we don't is one of the hardest things that we have to do. Chong was not given a reason for his ban, and there was no indication as to what he had posted that crossed that line. Violation of PayPal's lengthy acceptable use policy may subject users to damages, including liquidating damages of $2,500 per violation. Okay, so allegedly, again, I'm saying allegedly here because, you just never know with some of these stories whether or not they're actually, really true. But again, the point here is the same. Right, is that we are seeing, some of these financial services companies make moves that, you've seen happen in corporate America with companies that are not necessarily in the financial services industry. Okay, where companies say, hey, you know what, we don't want to advertise this person. Okay, we don't want to endorse this person. We don't want to carry this person's product, et cetera, et cetera. And again, the ultimate form of that, the worst version of that is when the financial services companies start to cancel you and say, no, we don't want to do business with you. Because then again, it makes it impossible to live in a certain country when you don't have access to capital. Okay. You don't have access to capital. Now, the good thing is, kind of like what was brought up in that article there, crypto solves this problem, right? Because crypto, at least for right now, is somewhat decentralized, and hopefully in the future, cryptocurrency will give the traditional banking and financial services industry some competition. However, I wouldn't really bet on that too hard, because banks run the world, right? Banks run the world, okay? The financial services industry runs the world, and I don't necessarily think they're gonna let crypto, take down their empire. However, I'm hoping that, crypto can provide some alternative for those who, are getting canceled by the financial services industry, and, can still, get access to capital and participate in society. So who knows? Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.